Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good. We are very excited that you all are decided to stay with us just a little longer. For those of you that were here for the Language Honor Society induction, and to all the rest of you who came back out from practices at home to be with us for our annual college program that we've so aptly named our Finding the Right Fit program. So unlike the program that we have that's just designed for juniors in January, which is very specific on the nuts and bolts of what's going to happen next in the spring, second half of junior year, this is more of our exploratory program. Which is why we open it up to all grades, because it's never too early to start thinking about what goes into the process of finding the right college match. And so it's great to see that there's a full range of students here with your parents, so that you can start to have, great healthy dialogue about the things that you're looking for, the things that matter most to you right now, and the things that you might want to consider as you are going through the rest of your GCS career and thinking about the next steps beyond GCS. So, before we go any further, I guess I should probably introduce myself. It's like, who's that guy talking about? Exactly, right? So I'm Chris Miller. I am one half of the college counseling team here at GCS. And thank you very much. I'm here till Tuesday. All right.
And I'm Lee Saradarian, the other half of the college team. Please take your weight. We have two guest stars here today, and just to give them a sense of who their audience is. If you are a ninth grader or a ninth grade parent, would you raise your hand? Thank you. If you are a 10th grader or a 10th grade parent, would you raise your hand? And now our juniors and their parents. Okay, so it's pretty even. That's great. So thank you all for being here. Congratulations to those of you who were just inducted into the Language Honor Societies. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to my taller half and have him introduce our guests for the evening.
Okay, so tonight's program is going to work in three parts, all right? First, we are going to have Calvin Wise here from the Johns Hopkins University in nearby Baltimore, Maryland. Calvin is Director of Recruitment, and I'm going to read you his bio in a second. What he's going to do for the first part is talk to you about how to go about the college search process from where you are now, and looking at it from a global perspective, kind of like a grander, big picture perspective, but also give you that perspective on not just finding your own college fit, but also how colleges themselves have unique personalities, and your job in being able to match what you're looking for with what colleges might be looking for, and finding that happy medium between the two. After Calvin, we're going to have our good friend Gerry McCrory here. And Gerry is actually one of the co-founders of SCOIR. SCOIR is a name that many of you should be familiar with by now. Some of you may not. It might still be new to you, but one reason why we're here is that SCOIR is an exciting new college search platform that you can use that's online. And we have started a partnership with SCOIR over the last year. So Gerry's going to give you some demonstrations on how SCOIR will work for you, and then we can talk to you about how to make your accounts active so that you can start using them from this point forward to conduct college search. We'll then have time for Q&A, and our goal is to have you all done by no later than 8 o'clock. Okay? So that sounds good? Okay. All right. So first, I'm going to introduce Calvin. So Calvin, as I said, is Director of Recruitment at Johns Hopkins University. He's responsible for the strategic development implementation, and evaluation of domestic and international recruitment initiatives. Calvin is also a member of the senior leadership team and chair of selection committee. This is his 7th year at Hopkins and 9th year in college admissions. Before coming to Johns Hopkins, Calvin worked at his alma mater, St. Mary's College of Maryland. Throughout his admissions career, he has counseled and evaluated students from all over the world, as well coordinated the efforts to attract a diverse body to his respective college campuses. So, without further ado, I introduce to you Calvin Wise.
All right, thanks, Chris. I always like coming behind Chris because I don't have to adjust the microphone. Appreciate that. Thanks for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here. As I was introduced, my name is Calvin Wise. I work at Johns Hopkins University. This is a really exciting time for us in our office. Tomorrow we are actually releasing decisions to seniors. We're stuffing packets today, closing them up, have all the mail bins, and so it's interesting for me to be here now talking about the college search process where we're notifying students tomorrow who are close to the end of the process. And the counselors can probably attest to this. Some of those students still have a long way to go based on their decisions where they're going to land. So I'm really excited to be here. Hopefully I can be helpful in kind of talking through this process. Talk a little bit about college search, and I'm going to touch on the application process. And they really are connected. I'm going to unpack that a little bit. But college search, and as selective universities or any universities evaluating students to really build a community, they are connected. What you're looking for, what we're looking for, I always say the most competitive and compelling applicants are those that are well researched and really know why they're applying to a school. They just read so much better through the process. So we'll talk about a couple of those different pieces as I kind of go through. So step one, where do you start? And I was really excited to see kind of the diversity of classes that are here because I think that there are things that you can do as 9th and 10th graders and doing your research. If you're in 11th grade and you haven't visited college yet, I don't think that you're too far off. Don't feel like you're behind the curve, right? You still have time to kind of visit some colleges and things like that. But if you are thinking about step one and where do you begin, these are some of the things that you should not focus on, right? Rankings, what schools are known for, what you've heard, right? You should think about what you're planning to get out of the college experience. Like, what do you want from the college experience? And as I'm sitting here talking and looking at, some parents are probably sitting there like, yes, what do I want out of the college experience? Absolutely. The U is for the students, okay? It's for the students. I was doing one of these presentations a couple months ago, and another admissions director said something that really resonated with me about this process and some advice to the parents, and he said that at this point in their lives, in the process, it's time for you to take your hands off and leave your fingerprints on. Think about that. Take your hands off, leave your fingerprints on, right? You raised them to this point, they're 15, 16, going on 17 years of age. Hope you've done a good job. You're there to support them. Your influence will always be there, but they need to find somewhere where they feel comfortable, right? What they want out of their own college experience. It has to be what they want now. Their siblings want, their parents, their best friends. It's all about this idea of fit and what will be the good fit, the right fit for them. And the right fit isn't for everybody. Like one of the things I always talk about, I don't like guacamole. Wow, right? People always look at me like, are you kidding me? You don't like guacamole? You go to Chipotle? You don't get guacamole? I don't like guacamole. That's me. I'm proud of that. It's okay. I'm going to eat my burrito without guacamole. And that's how I like it, right? It needs to be the search process, your list, the colleges you're applying to need to be places that you're really excited about and where you really want to be. When you picture your college, what types of experiences do you want to have? Some things to consider. There's a whole kind of list here of things that you should kind of be thinking about. Think about your high school experience. What do you enjoy here at GCS? What are things that you might change, right? I'm glad that Gerry's here to kind of talk about these different things, and you guys have a platform that you can work through to do some search and really look into these things, right? And I think that the goal of this process is to be an informed consumer when you come to your senior year, right? You want to be knowledgeable about what you're looking for. I see a lot of people who come visit campus and they step foot on our campus and they do the kind of tour and they leave. And I'm like, did you really get much out of that? You didn't ask me any questions. I look at the student and I say, what are you interested in? They give me these big wide eyes. They're some research, spend some time online, think about what you're looking for, right? That's an important component of this. Right? Before you kind of go jet-setting around the country, visiting all those colleges, make sure that you're having that conversation amongst yourselves about what type of college you're looking for. Just some broad categories: liberal arts institutions, research institutions, large, small, urban, rural. One of the best things about being in the DC, Maryland, Virginia is that we have every type of these colleges probably in a 45-minute to an hour drive, right? No need for you to go fly to the University of Alabama to realize that you don't want to be at a larger kind of flagship state institution. You could have gone down the street to College Park and figured that out, right? Take advantage of those opportunities. You know, Hopkins, we're a research, a mid-sized research institution in the city. Come visit us before you go to Vanderbilt, right? We have small schools, large schools. We have all these different types of schools. Liberal arts schools are kind of known for being a little bit smaller, kind of broad exposure to different academic areas. Research institutions have graduate degrees. Oftentimes, it's a little bit easier to get research. But I always say there are liberal arts institutions that offer research, there are research institutions that offer a flexible curriculum, right? So think about what type of experience you want to have, what types of schools would be a good fit for you. And I always say start local because we have so many options here. And then use these things as we call drivers to drive and narrow down your search. If you're looking for geography, size, the types of different schools, liberal arts colleges, specialty colleges. You might start with a list that's maybe 20 or 30 schools, right, as you're going through this whole process, and that's okay, right? And then you're going to narrow that down in your senior year. Hopefully you're not still applying to 20 or 30 different schools, right? How many schools do you typically recommend students to apply to?
Average is like 8 to 12.
8 to 12 schools, right? 8 to 12. There are probably almost, Gerry might know, over 4,000 different colleges and universities out there. You got to find 8 to 12 schools to apply to, right? That's the hardest part. I am convinced, and I've been doing this for 9 years, the hardest part of this whole process is not applying to college, right? That's just dates, deadlines, forms. That's pretty straightforward. But trying to figure out these 4,000 colleges and universities, what 6, 8, 12 you're going to apply to, that's a little bit more challenging, right? That's definitely a little more challenging. All right, so this is a really important aspect of it, right? This kind of gets to the heart of the discussion today, all right? This whole idea of fit and match. You know, what are you looking for? What is the college looking for? How well do your interests match the opportunities of the institution? Right? Would you prefer taking classes for your major immediately, or would you rather explore? Right? Who here is not sure what they want to major in college? And those that don't have their hand up might change their major. Statistics say they probably will change their major, right? If you don't know, that's okay. I get a lot of questions on the road from students, and they say, you know, I'm an undecided student. Is that okay? Right? I'm like, yeah, of course it's okay. But I always caution them. There's a difference between an undecided student and an uninterested student, right? I'm going to tell you the difference. An undecided student, I meet them at a college fair, and they say, I'm undecided. I'm like, oh, well, tell me about your interests. What programs are you interested in? What classes do you enjoy? What subjects do you enjoy? And they're like, oh, well, I really enjoy learning about biology, and in my history class I was learning about this, and I love to write, so English is intriguing to me. I'm like, oh, I can work with that, right? Hopkins, flexibility, the curriculum, your distribution system, you're going to take classes in different areas, right? That's an undecided student. That's a student that liberal arts institutions really get excited about. Then there's the uninterested student, right? I meet that student at a college fair, I ask them what they're interested in, and they say, I don't know. Really? What classes do you like? I don't know. That student is harder to work with. And so I employ you, and sometimes they're the same student, they just haven't spent the time thinking about the different academic areas. You have the internet at your fingertips, research different programs, look into those things. I don't typically say that there are bad questions, right, at college fairs or high school visits or when you meet the admissions officer, but there are better questions that you can ask. And the best questions are well-informed questions, right? If you meet me at a college fair and you step up to me, my table, and you say, do you have a biology major? My answer's going to be like, yes. Anything else, right? Do you have, how good is your psychology department? Good. I have to say good, because if I say it's not good, I'm probably going to get fired, right? Informed questions. You can go on our website and see that we have a biology major, right? You can see some specifics about our psychology program. Think about some more elevated questions that are really going to impress us, right? I was on your psychology website and I saw this Mind Brain Institute, and I see that some undergraduate students are doing some research in a specific area. Can you tell me more about that? Whoa, that's impressive, right? That's an elevated question. I guarantee I'm going to remember you through the process. And you have indicated to me that you're somebody who's really focused on this process, you're invested in this process, and I can picture you on my campus, right? I think the most common misconception about the college admissions process, particularly at selective schools, is that this is not about rewarding past success. It's not about that. It's not about rewarding past success. It's about trying to predict your future potential and what your future potential might be on my college campus. They're not the same evaluation. I can glean some of your future potential from your past success. Did you do well in high school? But I really can't picture you on my campus in that way, right? But I can, through conversation, elevated conversation about majors you're interested in, programs, clubs, organizations. I can read essays. Schools oftentimes will require a supplemental essay that's more specific to the institution. Maybe like a why us essay, why you're interested in Johns Hopkins University, right? And you're giving me specifics. That allows me to try to figure out what type of classmate are you going to be? What type of roommate are you going to be? I'm trying to bring, our freshman class is 1,300. This year we got 29,000 applications, right? I can fill my incoming class probably 10 times over with students who had past success in high school. But I'm trying to put together a learning community that's going to empower each other, interact, engage. And that it's different. It's a different type of assessment, and it takes a student who is really intentional about the schools they're applying to, that are well researched, and know why they want to be a part of that community. So this kind of goes into that making the match. So when we sit around, right? I mean, I've been in a room with these people. I have 23 admissions officers in my staff. We've been in a room countless hours, right? Just to give you kind of a sense of how the process works. You know, you submit the application. We get that, we have operations process it, make sure we get all those pieces. Then we start reading the applications, right? We read in pairs. We then go in the committee, and we have a committee, we sit around at a table. We have conversations about each and every one of these students. And these are some of the questions that we ask. Is this student going to be academically successful here? Is he or she going to thrive and contribute to our campus life? Is he or she going to take advantage of the opportunities available at our campus, both inside and outside the classroom? Do they have a distinct perspective to share, right? These are kind of subjective questions. There's conversation that goes behind a lot of this. Especially for those that are in the 9th and 10th grade, you know, sometimes like, well, what can I do? I need you to invest in your high school experience, right? When we're looking at academics, we're looking at academic character. That's not just, again, past success. Did you do well in the class? Maybe, right? An A, maybe got an A in class. But that doesn't really tell me much about your academic character, right? We break it down, we're looking at more of those pieces. Same thing with impact, initiative in your community. We're looking into more of those pieces, right? So we want to make sure that you're thinking about that as you're kind of going through your 4 years in high school, going up to your senior year. What do I really enjoy learning about in the classroom? What do I want to further? You know, we always talk about that what-why student, that student that possesses intellectual curiosity, right? That true love of learning. Are you that type of student? Do you find out about a subject, learn about it in class, you want to go home and research that, learn more about that? That's an exciting student in our process. Looking at your transcript, it's more than just the grading, right? We're sitting there trying to figure out, you know, does the student possess strong academic character, right? So if you're thinking about how can I put myself in a position to be a good fit for the institution, you got to start with what you're doing now. You got to start what's going on in the classroom. It's not just about did you do well. We want to know, did you challenge yourself? How did your grades reflect when you took on those challenges? We're seeing that letters of recommendation are playing so much more of a part in our process because it's another lens, an outside lens, telling us a little bit about you, right? We have your essay, that's important as well, right? But we also have other people say things about you as well. We want to know what type of student are you in the classroom, right? How do you kind of approach the academics? That's all part of the transcript and the academic assessment, looking at your academic character. Trends, are your grades increasing? Are they decreasing? Are you taking the highest rigor available at your school? If you have AP classes here, you're taking those, or you're taking honors classes. We spend a lot of time looking at all those different pieces at my institution. One quick thing about transcripts and academics, right? We're also going to look at what classes you're taking. If you tell me you want to be an engineer, and you're not doing well in physics, guess what? I don't want to stand on a bridge that you built, right? Physics is very important in engineering. So you need to be excelling in those classes. You tell me you want to be a writer, hopefully you're a strong writer, right? Hopefully your grades reflect that, right? So that's important. That stuff is important. You want to think about that. What classes do you enjoy, right? If you're struggling in certain areas, you might want to have a conversation with your counselor about that, right? As you're thinking about this process, what's going to be a good fit for you, right? The other thing I also like to mention about majors, there's no one major in our society, or there is no one career in our society that you had to have been whatever major as an undergraduate student, right? People come from a lot of different backgrounds, majors, and go off in the fields that might not exist right now, right? Or, the fields of tomorrow, or, they started here and then end up there, right? There's all these careers out there, and so when you get to college, you want to take classes and I ask you, what do you want to study? What do you want to learn more about? Use that as a solid base to really inform you when you go off into the working world. We see engineers in our institution coming back and telling our current engineers that, take more marketing classes, take more writing classes. That's really where the career development is, marketing and sales. Check that stuff out. That's really important, right? You see students that are going off into the sciences, and there's a lot of conversation about bioethics, and they're concerned and interested about philosophy, right? You have an opportunity as an undergraduate student to take advantage of that stuff. And you want to think about that and think about the potential opportunities that you might have, when you get to a college campus. Extracurricular activities. Right now, especially for you younger students, you have the opportunity to really figure out what you're interested in. When I was back and I was in high school, and I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm a first-generation college student, which means I was the first person in my family to go to college. I'm also the oldest grandchild on both sides, so nobody had gone to college. I had this idea, probably somebody told me at some point, that to get into college you need to do three things, three extracurricular activities. You got to play a sport, you got to do community service, and you have to play an instrument. So I played basketball, I volunteered at a nursing home, and I played the alto saxophone. In my senior year, I switched to the baritone, right? Those are my three extracurricular activities. Now, being on this side of the desk, I realize that that's not necessarily what this is all about, right? We don't have this kind of prescribed list of activities. We want to know, what are you really passionate about? What are you really interested in? Are you exploring those different types of interests? If you are involved in the club, maybe you take a leadership position. Maybe you think about what type of impact you're going to have, right? Investing in that now and exploring those things now, it's going to help you immensely when you get to your senior year, right? When you're thinking about what colleges you're interested in and what you want to do within that experience, right? If you're involved in a club that is a social justice or an advocacy club, you really enjoy that, that'll help you as you're thinking about questions when you get to your senior year and you're visiting college campuses. What does that look like here? What does that look like in the classroom? What does that look like in the local community? What does that look like and with extracurricular activities we have offered on this campus, right? Is service a big thing? You establish that as a 9th, 10th, and 11th grader. So when you get to your senior year, you have a sense of, what am I looking for? What am I trying to get out of this experience, and what do I truly enjoy? The essay. So I'm going to talk about two different types of essays. There's the personal essay. That's going to be more about who you are. It tells us about, going back to the previous slide about a distinct perspective, tells us a little bit about that. And then schools also may ask for a supplemental essay, what I mentioned and alluded to earlier, right? And that essay is a little bit more specific to the institution. So our supplemental essay 2 years ago was basically a why us. It said, based on your current experiences and interests, in your interest, what do you plan on doing when you get to Hopkins? What interests you about Hopkins, right? If you haven't invested 9th, 10th, and 11th grade in figuring that out and developing those interests, how are you going to connect those to what we have on our campus, right? And when we get in that committee and we're having those conversations, we use that essay and say, wow, this student's talking about, they did this in high school, they did that in high school. And they're talking about the program that we offer here on our campus. I could definitely see that student here. I could see that student, a part of one of our organizations. Our essay this year, switched up a little bit, was about collaboration. Discuss a time that you experienced collaboration with your peers, your teachers, and what you learn from that, right? Hopkins is a super collaborative place. We're looking for students who kind of value that and who seek that out. And so we're looking for examples of that. As a 9th and 10th and 11th grader, if you haven't developed in that way, if you haven't looked at kind of different things and opportunities to really collaborate, you're not really going to have much to talk about in that essay, right? And if we're saying that's what we're looking for, that's how you should be thinking about your experience in high school, right? I think a lot of times, a common question I get is, what are you looking for in the admissions process? Right? What are you looking for? What is Hopkins looking for? What are these colleges looking for, right? And we have some tells. We do kind of show our hand a little bit. Look at the programs we offer. Look at the essay questions we ask you to write about. Listen to the themes and the things that we talk about. How we talk about our institution on the website. We put it all out there. We're desperately trying to find students who are really going to be active and engaged members in our community, right? If you're interested in entrepreneurship and business, at Hopkins over the summertime, we have an academic spotlight on entrepreneurship and business. You go to that, they're going to tell you what type of student we're looking for in that area. Same thing with pre-health, same thing about the humanities. We have specific programs about that. If you go and visit a college and sit in the information session, they're going to talk about their philosophy and the reading process, right? We do have tells, we do show our hand a little bit. You just have to be thinking about that and really know where to look. So I think really making the best out of your visit, when you visit a college, utilizing the website. There's so many times I get questions, I'm like, man, that's on our website. And I was like, oh, tell me more about this. I can tell you more about it now. There's so many great examples on our website. We have so many different types of platforms now, social media, things like that we leverage to help you understand what type of student we're looking for and what type of student really thrives on our campus. And so I think the research component of this process is what's really important. Talked about recommendation letters already, being able to really develop those relationships in high school with teachers are really important to us. They tell us about who you are in the classroom, how you approach the academics. There's some tips here. If we're thinking about academic areas, I was joking about how well you did in the classes from a grade perspective, but also how you approach the material within that specific area, math and science. If you're looking about the social and behavioral sciences, if you're thinking about English, do you really have a love of learning in that area? That's really what we'll tell you when you come to our campus, and we have a lot of conversations about that. So those are just a few slides just to kind of a sneak peek of what we look for, how you can think about this process and position yourself when you're applying to college. I'm a firm believer, like I said earlier, that applying to college is straightforward, right? It's dates, it's deadlines, it's forms. Colleges are on the Common Application or the Coalition Application, the Universal College app, right? Back in my day, you had to fill out an application, there was one for each school, you had to send all those out, right? Nowadays, they have these cohort applications where you can fill all your demographic information, and maybe you submit another essay. That just takes a little bit of time. But if you think about what you need to do now as a 9th grader and a 10th grader, 11th grader, right? That self-discovery, asking questions, having conversations, that's really going to help you out. That's going to help position you when you get to your senior year and you're going through this process. Students, if I give you one tip, one skill to work on, to practice, from now to your senior year, it would be to use your words. Use your words. What does that mean to use your words? Just sitting like, I use my words, right? I talk time to time. Give you an example. Parents, you leave here today, you hop in the car, you're driving home, you turn to your son or daughter and you say, what did you think? How was it? What do they typically say? Boring, fun, good. And that's if you get the earbuds out of their ear, right? They're on their phones. They got the tech deck, right? They're looking at their phone. And it's not that you haven't processed anything or learned anything, it's just that we don't have much practice at 15 and 16 really using our words, right? Take your earbuds out, sit down and have a conversation about this process, right? Have a conversation, practice that dialogue, talk to your counselors, your teachers. That is a life skill that's going to help you through this process as you're trying to figure out what 6, 8, 12 schools to apply to. That's going to help you when you get to the college campus. I don't think we talk enough about college success. Everybody's focused on getting into college. What happens when you get there, right? How do I figure out what major I want to be? How do I figure out what programs? what activities you get involved in, internships, research. It's going to help you when you're applying for a job, and you need to self-advocate for yourself. Using your words is really at the forefront, at the center of all these different pieces. And so really focus on that, practice that, learn that, and I guarantee that's going to help you tremendously through this process. All right, that's all I got.
Thank you so much, Calvin. Okay, and now I would like to bring up Gerry McCrory. Gerry is the CEO and founder of SCOIR, a social media platform designed to improve the college admission process for students, parents, college admission staff, and high school counselors. In 1999, Gerry also started the Crucible Corporation, an early-stage venture capital fund headquartered in Dublin, Ireland, and Cross-Atlantic Capital Partners, a $600 million venture capital fund headquartered in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Prior to starting Crucible, Gerry was the managing director of Cambridge Technology Partners in Ireland, started his own software services company, The Information Mosaic, held various senior commercial responsibilities at Capgemini in Ireland, Great Britain, and the United States, and worked as a CPA with Coopers and Lybrand in both Ireland and the Cayman Islands. He is a former fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, has a primary degree in economics from the University of Ulster, a postgraduate diploma in accounting from Queen's University of Belfast, and an MBA from the University of College Dublin. Gerry is a founding board member of the U.S.-Ireland Alliance, whose flagship program is the George J. Mitchell Scholarship Program, established in 1998, which allows future American leaders to pursue a year of graduate study in Ireland and Northern Ireland. For more than a decade, the program has allowed these future leaders to experience Ireland firsthand. The program's goal is to provide tomorrow's leaders with an understanding about and interest in and affinity with the island of Ireland. So now that we all feel like we have not done enough with our lives, it's my pleasure to introduce Gerry McCrory.
That was embarrassing. I didn't think Chris was going to read that. Yeah, so my name is Gerry. Can everyone hear me okay? SCOIR is a project we started 6 years ago. Actually, I spent 3 years researching it, and I'm just trying to build a better college search selection platform for two reasons. For fit from a student point of view, and transparency from the parent's point of view, you understand the financial implications of it, because college is expensive. Some of the statistics are quite frightening. 30-35% of students that go to college this year will never graduate with a degree. They'll go to college, they'll spend time, but they'll actually leave and never graduate. 1 in 5 students, it's just pretty consistent, will transfer either as a freshman or a sophomore to another college because their initial selection just didn't fit with them. The average undergraduate degree in America is not 4 years, it's supposed to be 4, it's actually 5.5. And student debt sits at $1.2 trillion, which is greater than credit card debt. So there's a lot wrong with the process. And what I'm trying to do is build a better process. So we're building 4 platforms that interact with each other. I'm not going to take you through the 4 platforms, but I'll briefly take you through the student, the parent, and if I have some time, maybe take you through the college to give you an idea of how the network works, if that's okay. So I've got a demo with one hand here, so excuse me for a second. I also need my glasses. Okay, so this is the student platform. One of the key things that we're trying to do with students, in part of our research and our workshops, what the students, the feedback we got in the workshops was there were 2 main things. The first piece of information they gave us is they were overwhelmed with marketing materials from colleges. I've experienced this twice now with 2 daughters, overwhelmed with marketing material, most of it unsolicited. They thought the marketing materials, college websites, and even college tours to some extent were somewhat sanitized. And really what they want to know is what's it like to be on a college campus on a day-to-day basis. What goes on, what are the kids like, will I find friends, will I fit in? So what we've done over the last couple of years is we've gone through every college website and we've tagged all the active club societies and activities on college campuses and created notes related to them. So if you, for example, have a child interested in something somewhat obscure like knitting, we've identified, I I've signed on here, so wrong. Let me sign on to that's my demo account. I'll sign on to the real account here. Sorry, so as I said, we've gone through every college website and tagged. So if you're interested in something like knitting, we've identified 40-odd colleges that got knitting clubs. And for each of them, what we do is read these little notes. We've got a picture, a description, a couple of tags, and then a link into their social media accounts. Because as a student, you can follow them on social media and possibly pick up the personalities of the students in the clubs on the campuses, and that's all to do with fit. Does that make sense? So as I say, there's tens of thousands of tags. So when you're searching for a college, you can now search based on these tags. So you can get someone who's searching based on their interest in music, Quidditch, outdoors, hiking, mountain biking, journal, whatever. There's literally tens of thousands of tags. You can also then search by academic focus. So if I start at the top, if I reset this, you're starting at the top of the pond with like almost 2,000 colleges. If I search for music and Quidditch, you know, I'm now down to 409 colleges. Does that make sense? If I then put in, you know, I want to study liberal arts, math, I'm now back up to 1,500 colleges. I'll do a reset on this, because what you'll see is the interests are green and amber. Green means that they have all of your majors or interests. Amber means they have some of your majors and interests and such. You can also search by distance, you know, one way school, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, North Carolina. Search by number of undergrads, search by if you're interested in athletics, if you're interested in test score ranges, if you're interested in types of school, whether it's a major city, large town, etc., etc. You can literally search for colleges that way and come up with your list as a student. For each college, what you can do then is go in, you can add it to your list of colleges here because you're interested in it. You can see all the normal information that you look for in terms of searching for colleges. And then see also what's called the wall, which are the notes that have been created for all the active club societies on some of the Pen's campuses. And for these, there's hundreds of these notes. And you can pin them to what we call idea boards and notebooks and save them. So what you're doing as a student is you're building all these different notebooks up for the colleges that interest you. This is my notebook for BU. These are all the things that I pinned off the wall from BU that interest me. You can supplement this with your own photographs, either on Instagram or Flickr. You can access them from there and personalize the notebooks for yourself, etc. And then an idea board is the thing that you come up with in order to compare and contrast stuff. So my music idea board, I pinned stuff from Boston and Hendrix and Penn and Drexel, etc. And as I add each college to my list, what I'm doing is building up my list of colleges. So these are the colleges I'm interested in. We categorize them as favorites and following. And the distinction is you can only favorite 6. You can follow as many as you wish. And the reason for that is to try and bring sanity to the process for parents and counsellors. Because you could be following 30 colleges, but let's try and focus on some top 6 per se. So that's kind of like the college search, you know, looking for colleges. The next things the students told us is they want to be able to show colleges they're more than a test score. So we built the ability for them to create an electronic profile. So think of it as a, you know, they can upload a picture and avatar, they've got their personal high school information. The most important part is extracurricular, where if you've got a student that is involved in, let's say, a robotics club, they can write this short story about being involved in the Iron Maiden robotics club and attach what we call a backpack item where they can upload pictures, text, and videos embellishing the story. And this is the idea where, you know, if you're really interested in community service and deeply involved in it, you probably have 1,000 photographs somewhere on your phone somewhere. The idea is to use it to sort of build a story around it, to try and distinguish yourself. And then the third part is, the student platform is, do you understand what it is you want to do to go to college? We've integrated with a couple of neuroscience software companies, Pymetrics and NAC, and they're gaming platforms. So what you do is you play games on the platform. I'll give you a quick demo. So Pymetrics, you can play this, what's called the balloon game. So what happens is, I don't know if this will work on it. Okay, so what you do is you're pumping different colored balloons you're accumulating cash, you transfer it into the central pot, and you have 39 chances. It seems really trivial, but this is neuroscience software companies. They were in industry for a long time, and then they moved into college, and that's where we came across them. Each game that you play is analysing a trait, and more importantly, the behaviour associated with the trait. So it's called, what it's analysing is some people will cautiously pump this balloon and maybe collect 10 cents 39 times. Other people will be totally inattentive and burst every balloon and not put anything in the pot. And then other people will figure that the blue balloon bursts at X seconds, and the orange bursts at Y, and they'll pump X minus 1, Y minus 1, and try and put as much money as possible into the pot. Each game measures a trait. In this case, what they're measuring is risk. And when you finish all the games, they give you a detailed analysis of your traits and where you sit on the distribution with anyone else that's played it, and they explain it. Because what they're trying to do is measure your traits for a particular career, which might then lead to a better decision around around majors and stuff like that. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I'm really flowing through this, but anyway, that's the student side. The parent side then is this. So on the parent side, you can see straight away the colleges your son or daughter's favouring and following. You can see their profile. You can see their Pymetrics profile that was completed here. You know, if they've got an ultimate frisbee thing, maybe jump in and have a look at it and make comments if you wish. You can search for colleges because now we give you context. Because now you're seeing the interest bills, you know, based on how did your son or daughter come up with their list of colleges. Well, now you know because they're interested in music and Quidditch and outdoors. They want to study liberal arts and math, and they're filtered by state size and college. And you can, if you want to play with this, you can think, well, I don't think a major city is a good idea. You know, I think 10,000 plus is rather too large or whatever. You know, you can forget about California, dear. You know, and you can go through it and say, maybe you're better off in a small town or a small medium city. You know, maybe you're better off in a school with, let's see, you know, 2,500 or 1,500. The point is, you can come up with a list of colleges yourself as a parent. You're not changing anything on the student side. You can restore their defaults over here. But what you can do is come across one and say, well, that could be interesting. And what you can do is suggest that to the student. So, and then on the student side, they'll go into they'll get a notification that a suggestion has come in from their parents.
And they'll ignore it.
And then they can, I just refresh this, that one will come up. And then they can decide that the favourite follower dismiss their suggestions. And then back on the parent side, you can see, you know, how closely in tune you are with your children in terms of suggestions, whether they've favourite, followed, dismissed, or not done anything, which is probably the most likely. We also give you access to what's called the heat maps. So what's my chances of getting into a certain college based on certain test scores and stuff like that. But I think personally, my point of view, I mean, I went through this process, as I say, with my two daughters so far. The first time I did it was a complete disaster. And, you know, Kiva, my eldest, applied to 5 colleges in the UK and Ireland and 5 colleges in the US. We knew before we got on the plane what she needed to get into college in the UK and Ireland and what the cost was going to be. In the US, we found out the cost, I think it was May or April of our senior year, or April, May of our senior year, I can't quite remember. The tuition range that we were offered was $28,000 to $61,000 a year. Like $61,000 a year, I got 3 other children, you know, I mean, you know, I don't know any institution in the world where an undergraduate degree is worth $250,000+ a year, particularly if you've got a number of children. And the point is, that institution is the one that I thought best fits Kiva, and that's the one I was encouraging her to look at. But then when they come up with this $61,000, they're not giving her any more tuition, then you got to have this awkward conversation. It wasn't too much of an awkward conversation because it felt better being 5,000 miles away from me. So they understand the implications. If your child's got their list of colleges, you know, what's it going to cost you? So you can do it in 3 ways. The very simple way is this. Colleges have to report their average total cost every year to government based on these 5 income brackets. So by selecting an income bracket and putting a budget in, what we're trying to show is that, look, the sticker price in Harvard could be $60,000. based on that income bracket, they say they charge on average 21. If you're budgeting that 23, you're going to see that, where Chicago will cost you marginally more and BC will cost you a lot more. That's a very simple, crude method because it doesn't take into account a lot of things. It doesn't take into account, for example, assets. You've got more than one child, et cetera, et cetera. But still, it does give you an indication that sticker pricing isn't necessarily what you will pay. And in fact, in four-year colleges, private colleges, sorry, not-for-profit colleges, not the public schools, the average discount last year was 49%. So that's the first part. The first part is you can just simply do that to give you an idea, Secondly, what you could do is calculate your EFC, which is the infamous FAFSA number, which I think is probably one of the greatest misnomers ever. But you can do it if you wish. Because it's useful here, because we've tied into this little tool called Abacus. And Abacus is really neat because it is the net price calculator that's used by more than 250 colleges. But the really neat thing about this tool is I can take 3 colleges at a time, so I can take like Babson, I can take Boston College, and then one other, for speed, I just won't do it here. But when I hit get started, what I'm actually doing is I'm actually answering the questions on those 3 college net price calculators at the same time. So it's just a matter of speed. You're doing 3 colleges at a time. And when I finish it, I'll be giving the 3 numbers so that if Babson turns out to be $10,000, I can put that number in. And then what we showed in the college side is the delta between your 10,000, your net price calculator, and what you're budgeting to spend, as opposed to your estimated net price. And parents for college search, we put that in every college. We put the sticker price. And it's important, by the way, we have in-state, so when you create your profile, make sure you create your profile, whether it's Maryland or Virginia, whatever it might be. So we'll give you in-state or out-of-state numbers. So we'll give you the sticker price, the average price that was paid last year, your expected price, whatever method you're using, and then the delta between that and what you're budgeting to spend. So that's kind of like the current side. Is there any questions on that? Does that make sense at all? Or? Yeah. Yes, we have international. Yes, sorry, yes, there's international colleges as well. Times in, okay. And then do you want me to show the college side? No, okay, that's it. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you all very much.
Oh, when you already did question and answer, that's this portion here. The only thing I was going to just say before we start question and answer. So just so you know, we've been working with the technology office to integrate and create accounts for all students here on the SCOIR platform. So we've imported your information. All of the juniors know that they have the ability to go in and create their accounts or make their accounts active. We have not sent that link out to the 9th and 10th grade just yet, but we will be doing that before spring break. And so, all you need to do is type your GCS email. So when we hit the invitation button, you'll just have to hit activate, essentially, and you'll be able to do that. And as of right now, for the parent portal, it's set up so that once the student activates their account, they can invite their parents in to be to activate their portal. But that feature is changing according to Kevin, correct? Yeah. Right, and then so there should be a feature soon in your students invite where we will be able to invite or activate the parents' account, and then it'll automatically link. So just be on the lookout for that to come, soon. Okay, with that. But with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Calvin and Gerry to take any questions that you have for the while. So, Lucy, do you want to start?
I just wanted to ask Gerry how often his website is updated in terms of tuition, maybe standard exam scores, things like that.
Yeah, so the primary source for our data is IPEDS, which is the government database. There's a couple of sources. One of the issues that we have, actually everyone has, is if you go to 3 websites, you might get 3 different numbers. for the truth is probably, well, the truth is the college website itself, to be quite honest. Also, what's very useful are what's called the heat maps, which is the historical data from Glenelg, where you can see your student, against all other alumni students and where they sit. But we use primarily iPads, which is the government database colleges report on every year. We also do a revision of that to clean it up. We update that at least once a year, if not twice a year. And what we're trying to do is, when we're getting colleges on board, we're trying for them to validate their own data, so that you'll see that the truth comes from the colleges and not from another database. And then in terms of the content, we update the clubs and societies, and I've got like 3 people doing